What if India's plan to build its own Hong Kong ends up sinking both its forests and its people? Is the Great Nicobar Project a strategic masterstroke or a ticking ecological time bomb? In today's video, we are breaking down India's 72,000 crore rupees Great Nicobar Project, a mega plan with ports, airports, power plants and a township that promises to turn this remote island into a global hub. But there's a twist. Critics say it could wipe out fragile ecosystems and endanger tribes that have lived there for centuries. Stay with me because this story is where ambition collides with survival. Hello viewers, I'm Kavya Khandelwal and you're watching The Edge. Let's set the scene. Picture this. Great Nicobar Island, a lush green paradise, barely 9 kilometers from India's southern tip, 210 kilometers from Indonesia's Aceh province, and about 900 kilometers from the Malacca Strait, one of the busiest trade routes in the world. Now imagine a project so massive it could change the fate of this little island forever. Back in 2021, the Indian government approved what's called the Holistic Development of Great Nicobar Island. Price tag 72,000 crore rupees. Timeline 30 years. Scale gigantic. But here's what happened. A transshipment port at Galatea Bay to rival Singapore, handling up to 14.5 million containers a year. A greenfield international airport with a runway big enough for wide-body aircraft, a 450 MW power plant using gas and solar, and finally a massive township spread over 16,500 hectares, meant to house 65,000 people. In short, India wants to turn Great Nicobar into a Hong Kong or Singapore of the Bay of Bengal. Sounds amazing, right? A shipping hub that could capture 20 to 30% of cargo from the Malacca Strait, billions in revenue, 50,000 jobs, and a huge boost to India's naval power in the Indo-Pacific. But here's the problem. The island isn't just empty land waiting for bulldozers. It's one of the most biodiverse ecosystems in the world. 85% of the island is covered in rainforest. Over 200 bird species live here. Galatea Bay is a Ramsar wetland, home to mangroves that act as natural tsunami shields. And it's the most important nesting site in the Indian Ocean for the giant leatherback turtle and the world's largest sea turtle. And then there are people, about 300 to 400 members of the Shompen tribe. One of India's most isolated groups live here. They have survived as hunter-gatherers for centuries. For them, the forest is their supermarket, their temple, their world. This project would take away around 130 square kilometers of their ancestral land. Critics warn, once contact with outsiders began, tribes like the Shompen often collapse, not because of guns, but because of simple diseases like flu or measles that they have zero immunity against. So here's the clash. Development versus ecology, jobs versus tribes, strategic power versus survival of a people. The Great Nicobar Project is being farmed as more than just an economic gamble. It's a geopolitical move. Think of it like chess. China has been building ports and bases all around the Indian Ocean, a strategy often called the string of pearls. For India, Great Nicobar is the perfect counter move. Its location is pure gold, just next to the Malacca Strait, where 25% of global trade and 80% of China's oil imports pass through. From here, India can keep an eye on Chinese vessels, project naval power, and even secure its own shipping routes. As Admiral Karambir Singh, the former Navy chief, said, these islands are like springboards for air and naval operations. Economically, the project is pitched as a money spinner too, with 30,000 crore rupees in annual revenue by 2040. It fits into the government's Sagarmala initiative, which is all about boosting coastal economies. But the opposition is furious. Sonia Gandhi wrote in The Hindu that this project is half-baked, ill-conceived and planned misadventure. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra amplified her words, calling it reckless. The BJP hit back. Party spokespersons accused Congress of undermining India's national interests, with one leader saying this is the project that inimical forces want to stop. Why is Congress lending its voice to them? So, it's no longer just about turtles and tribes. It's now a political war. Growth versus green. Patriotism versus protection. Here's the twist. Even legal experts are raising red flags. Environmentalists like Pankaj Sheikh Saria argue that parts of the island fall under CRZ 1A coastal regulation zones, legally out of bounds for big construction projects. Yet, environmental clearance was still granted. And let's not forget, Great Nicobar lies is a seismically active zone. In 2004, the Indian Ocean tsunami, which killed over 230,000 people, actually shifted parts of this island by 15 feet. So, critics ask, are we really building India's Hong Kong, or are we setting up another disaster waiting to happen? So here's where we are. India wants a Hong Kong in the Bay of Bengal. The Great Nicobar Project promises trades, jobs and naval power. But at what cost? An endangered turtle, an ancient tribe, a fragile rainforest. Whether this becomes India's masterstroke or misadventure, only time will tell. What do you think? Is the Great Nicobar Project India's big leap forward or a dangerous gamble? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, subscribe and follow The Edge.